Terrifying night drive. In the heart of a desolate countryside, a chilling tale of terror unfolds. It all begins with a young lady named Emily, who finds herself driving home alone on a moonless night. The darkness outside is impenetrable, and the only companions she has are the rhythmic hum of her engine and the eerie echo of her own thoughts. Emily had worked late that night, and as the clock struck midnight, she embarked on her journey back home. The road ahead stretched like a black abyss, winding through dense woods that seemed to whisper secrets to the wind. An uneasy feeling settled over her as the minutes ticked by, and an inexplicable sense of being watched crept up her spine. Out of the darkness, a pair of blinding headlights suddenly emerged, bearing down on her like a predator closing in on its prey. The car behind her was unnervingly close, its high beams flashing impatiently. Emily's heart raced as panic surged through her veins. She gripped the steering wheel and pushed her foot down on the gas pedal, urging her car to go faster. But the car behind her continued to tailgate her, the high beams flashing relentlessly. With each flash of light, Emily's fear intensified. Her thoughts raced, imagining the worst scenarios. Who was this driver? What did they want from her? She knew she had to get away, and so she accelerated, the road blurring beneath her tires. The car continued to follow, its presence like a malevolent shadow that refused to be shaken off. Finally, Emily's exit loomed ahead. Relief flooded through her as she veered off the highway. However, her heart sank when she noticed the car behind her also taking the exit. The dread settled like a weight in her stomach. She was no longer just anxious, she was trapped in a nightmare. Desperation gave way to action as Emily dialed the emergency number, her voice trembling as she relayed her situation to the dispatcher. She continued driving, her eyes darting between the road and the rear-view mirror. The dispatcher assured her that officers were en route, but Emily's grip on the phone tightened when she realized the car was still following her, its high beams casting an eerie glow. As Emily's home drew near, her heart pounded with a mixture of fear and anticipation. The flashing lights of a patrol car suddenly illuminated the night, pulling up behind her. Her breath caught in her throat as the police officer approached her window, his eyes narrowed in scrutiny. Just as Emily was about to exhale a sigh of relief, chaos erupted. The officer's attention was abruptly drawn to the car that had been tailing her. He shouted orders, and within moments, more police cars surrounded the vehicle. Emily watched in horror as officers dragged the driver out, but what happened next would forever haunt her dreams. The man was screaming, his voice echoing through the night, demanding the police to check the backseat of Emily's car. Confusion clouded the air as the officers' attention shifted towards her. Their expressions changed from concern to suspicion, and their guns were suddenly trained on her. Terror clenched Emily's heart as the officer closest to her opened the back door, revealing a figure sprawled on the seat. Her screams merged with the night as a man tumbled out, a wickedly gleaming butcher's knife clutched in his hand. The world seemed to slow as panic crashed over her, drowning reason and coherence. Without hesitation, the officers fired, and the night exploded with the sound of gunshots. The man's body crumpled to the ground, his grip on the knife releasing. Emily's mind spiraled into a whirlwind of chaos and disbelief. She stared at the lifeless figure, her heart pounding so violently it threatened to break free from her chest. As the haze of terror slowly lifted, Emily found herself trembling, surrounded by police officers who regarded her with a mixture of caution and pity. Their eyes told her a chilling truth, that the other driver had been flashing his high beams every time he saw the man raise the knife, a silent warning that she had been completely oblivious to. In the days that followed, the darkness of that night refused to release its grip on Emily. Sleep became a battleground between reality and nightmares, and the memory of that blood-soaked scene haunted her every waking moment. The realization that a malevolent force had guided her actions, that a stranger had been her unlikely guardian, plunged her into a realm of fear that could not be shaken. Emily's life was forever altered by that night of terror, the twisted dance between predators and prey, etching itself into her very soul. The roads she once navigated with confidence now held unseen dangers, and the shadows that cloaked the world became conduits for her deepest fears. Her nights were filled with the echoing screams, the blinding headlights, and the sinister flashes of the knife. No matter where she turned, the memory of that night followed, a ghostly specter that had branded her with a fear so profound. It held her in a vice-like grip until her final breath. And so, the tale of Emily serves as a grim reminder that sometimes, the scariest monsters are not the ones lurking in the darkness, but the ones that hide within us, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal themselves.